Hello, people of YouTube. This is MTG Budget Master here with a deck tech of Red Black Devotion Budget. Alright, basically in this deck you have everything you ever want. You have aggro, late game bombs, card advantage, removal, and control and life gain. Boom. I know. I'm gonna take a second for you to calm down. Anyways, and it's this deck costs roughly $30 to $35. Like I said, roughly, not including sideboard. I don't include sideboard in these costs because they're not really main deck. But if you want to add a sideboard, go ahead, by all means. So for here, we'll start off with creatures. I have 24 of them, and for 1 drops we have 2 Fire Drink Satyrs and 2 Tormented Heroes. These are basically for early aggression, get their early damage in. Next we have 2 Chimera the Murder Kings for 2 drops, and this guy's good because if late game or early game for early damage, but late game, if you have a couple creatures, maybe some puny creatures like these guys, you need to sacrifice them for shock to the face, then by all means, go ahead. He can win a game, late game. Yeah. Brain Maggot for other 2 drops. He's basically just to screw over your opponent's plans. He's like a Thoughtseize, but cheap. And if your opponent kills him and takes back his card, go ahead, I guess. At least I saw your hand. Next. Mogus's Marauder. I used to think he sucked. I really hated him back then. But now I love him because he gives your guys Intimidate. And Intimidate, it's just beautiful. I mean, basically, he's a late game guy who can also do early damage, but he's basically here for late game to give your big guys Intimidate to swing for the win. And yeah, they're amazing. Next for 3 drops we have 2 Archetype of Aggressions. I put him here because he's kind of a filler, but the Trample is a nice ability, and he gives 2 Red Devotion. There's nothing really else to be said about him. Next we have 4 Fanatic of Moguses for the 4 drops. If you want to take your Devotion and throw it at your opponent's face and him saying ow, then you got your Fanatic of Mogus. Yeah, he's a 4/2 who deals damage. Next we have 1 Mogus God of Slaughter. He's here because he's your captain. Don't question it. But basically dealing 2 damage to your opponent or him sacrificing a creature, all the better for you because he gets screwed either way. I only have 1 of them because he's $5, and basically the rest of the deck is kind of, how do I say this? 2 Moguses equals $10. I don't like it. 1 Mogus is good, but if you want to add more, go ahead by all means. Next, for 5 drops, I have Grey Merchant Asphodel. I got 4 of them. He's even better than Fanatic of Mogus because instead of taking your Devotion and throwing it at your opponent's face, you take it, you throw it at your opponent's face, then you feel good about it. The end. Next, we have 2 Underworld Cerberuses, 5 drop, 6/6 bomb. But basically, he's amazing because if your opponents don't have the creatures out, you can just swing for 6 every turn. But his 3rd ability is the best part about it, because he brings back Grey Merchant to your hand, bringing Grey Merchant to the battlefield, bringing the end of all days for your opponent, and that's good. Not for your opponent. And yeah, nothing else to be said. And by the way, he's $1. That's amazing. That was our creatures, and now we go to our spells. Our spells, we start off with 2 Blinding Fires, and basically they're here to get your bombs inside your opponent's gut and to shred it and tear it apart. Enough said. Next we have 2 Asphyxiates. It's cheap removal. It gets almost everything, and there's nice art. I like it. Next we have 4 Silence of Believers. This is cheap rare. It's $1 rare. And it's kill 2 creatures for 1 card, or 3 creatures maybe sometimes for 1 card, and it can bring end to your opponent. Yeah, it's amazing. I love this card. Next we have 2 Read the Bones for card advantage. If you need that Gray Merchant, you need that Fanatic of Mogus, or you even need that Mogus, this will get you to it or closer to it. And yeah, it's card advantage. Next we have one Hammer of Perforos for artifacts, and it's here to give you mainly devotion, but having creatures have a haze is a pretty good bonus too. Plus the 3/3 golems are pretty good too. But the Whip of Erebos I prefer a lot better than the Perforos of Hammer. I said that wrong, Hammer of Perforos. Because Whip of Erebos gives you lifelink, which, you know, we could use it. And the main part about it though is that its ability where you bring back a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield, Gray Merchant of Asphodel, and win the game like that. Yeah, it's basically how you win a game. Lands, we have 14 swamps and 10 mountains, and that's all I gotta say about it. Sideboard, what I put for sideboard is 2 Feast of Dreams for enchantment heavy decks, 2 Searing Bloods for aggressive decks, or for like the 2/1 decks that run cheap creatures, Bile Blight for aggro decks, 2 Giant Sorrows for aggro decks, 2 Dark Betrayals for any black deck. Necrobite is for those big monster decks that run giant hydras and you can't kill them with your 6/6 Cerberus. So yeah, 2 Harness by Force for the same kind of deck to control that giant hydra to work together with your 6/6 Cerberus. But yeah, and then 1 Brain Maggot for, you know, control decks. And yeah, this is basically the deck. It runs really well. It's a black-red devotion deck that's just amazing, that has everything you ever want. And if you like this deck tech, make it yourself. What I mean by that is make the deck yourself. You want to try it out, try something new. It's cheap, it works really well. You can win many games with this deck. If you like this video, then go ahead, click that subscribe button. I don't bite much, just a little niblet every now and then. It's getting creepy. And yeah, if you like the video, you know, subscribe. This is MTG Budget Master signing out. See you later, guys.